Permit me, of course, to rise. I thought it was going to be this morning, but I said this afternoon with a deep sense of responsibility, gratitude, and resolve to lend my full support to the Appropriation 2026 Bill 2025 that is now before this Honourable House, presented by the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, our member for St. Christopher No. 8, Dr. Terence Joe, in his annual budget address delivered earlier this week. Madam Speaker, I do so not merely as a member of the Cabinet, but as a servant of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, very conscious of those who are the residents of constituency St. Christopher No. 6, those who hail from Newton Ground in the west to Harris's in the east, but of course quite inclusive of St. Paul's, Deer Bay, Parsons, Lynches, Lavington, and of course Sadlers. I believe, Madam Speaker, that the expectations of the present and the obligations that we owe to future generations are almost palpable today. At the outset, Madam Speaker, I wish to recognize and commend all honourable members on this side of the House, those who have contributed meaningfully to this debate over the past several days. Each intervention, Madam Speaker, has reflected the seriousness with which this government approaches governance, the seriousness of fiscal stewardship, and of course, national development. I want to acknowledge the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Ministers who hold Sustainable Development Portfolio, those who hold infrastructure, tourism, agriculture, social development, labor, youth, gender affairs, and all of my colleagues who have articulated their own visions and defended their portfolios and placed before the nation a coherent and integrated policy direction for the fiscal year ahead, 2026. Madam Speaker, I also acknowledge, of course, the contributions from members on the opposition benches. While we may differ in philosophy and approach, robust debate is the lifeblood of any parliamentary democracy, and this House is strengthened when ideas are tested in open forum of public discourse. Madam Speaker, what really is this budget about? It is a budget that is anchored in purpose and in progress. And so this debate occurs at a significant juncture in the life of this Parliament. We are now in the fourth year of a 5-year term, a moment that demands reflection, accountability, and renewed focus, especially when we had seen the collapse of the last administration after a few months of being put together in this very Parliament. This budget, therefore, is not a speculative exercise. It is a mature budget. It is informed by experience. It is grounded in realities of governance and shaped by the lessons learned since this administration assumed office and labor administrations of yesteryear. It reflects a government that has stabilized the economy. It has restored confidence after the collapse of a government of just about 18 or 15 months, and placed people at the center of our national development, even while navigating global uncertainty, inflationary pressures, climate vulnerability, and of course, geopolitical instability, even within the very Caribbean region in which we are living. Madam Speaker, the appropriation bill before us is a statement of intent. And it speaks to the following. 1, fiscal responsibility without social abandonment. 2, economic growth without exclusion. 3, development without disregard for sustainability. And progress without forgetting our most vulnerable of this country. This budget, it builds on a foundation of sound macroeconomic management, strengthened international partnerships, and on unwavering commitment to good governance, which speaks to us and those on the other side. There is a collective responsibility and cabinet unity within this budget. The budget is not the work of one individual. It is the product of collective cabinet deliberation, technical expertise, public consultation, and strategic planning across ministries and departments. It reflects a philosophy of this administration, that is, governance is a shared responsibility, and that national progress requires coordination, cooperation, and of course, coherence. As Minister responsible for economic development and investment, for foreign affairs and international trade, industry and commerce, and consumer affairs, I am particularly heartened by the clear alignment between fiscal policy and the government's broader development agenda. This budget, therefore, reinforces our commitment to achieve the following. 1, economic diversification. Sorry, the member for number 5 is not here this morning. Investment facilitation. Thirdly, regional and international engagement. 4, industrial development. 5, consumer protection. And 6, the creation of sustainable, decent workforce for all of our people. Madam Speaker, permit me for a moment to recognize the leadership of the Prime Minister. I wish to place on record my own commendation of the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Joe, for the clarity, for the discipline, and the vision demonstrated in the presentation of this particular budget. I commend, of course, those in the Ministry of Finance who have helped as architects in putting this together and thus presented before the country. His leadership reflects a modern understanding of governance, one that balances fiscal prudence with social justice and ambition with realism. Under his stewardship, this government has remained focused on its own mandate to build a sustainable island state, not as a slogan at all, but as a practical framework for resilience, equity, and long-term prosperity. Recall the historical path that we have taken from sugar monoculture to services, tourism, hospitality, international financial services, information communication technology services, offshore education services, and yet another pillar, agriculture and light manufacturing, small business and entrepreneurship. All of these, Madam Speaker, are what we are transitioning towards from where we were when, unfortunately, we had setbacks of several dimensions. I want to emphasize here this afternoon my support for the appropriation bill. Madam Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I rise today to unequivocally support the appropriation bill that is now before this Honourable House, because it is intended to consolidate the path that we have taken to realize that bold vision of transition, transformation, and economic diversification. This bill provides the legal and financial authority that is necessary to advance the policies, the programs, and projects that our people have entrusted us to deliver. It is a budget that gives us the opportunity to realize our bold vision of investing in people and investing in our progress towards a brighter future. It is to protect the vulnerable. It is to further diversification. It is to assist in further diversification of the national economy. It is to empower the productive sectors. It is to strengthen institutions. It is to position St. Kitts and Nevis to compete and thrive in an increasingly complex global economy. For a moment, I forgot the translator, the interpreter. Going fine. Good. Madam Speaker, and so in the course of this presentation, I will address in greater detail the specific initiatives, the allocations, the strategic priorities within my own ministerial portfolios that give life and substance to this budget, intended to create a sustainable island state, following the very broad guidelines of the National Development Planning Framework, the NDPF, distilled and so well marketed by the Sustainable Island State Agenda, CISA. And so, Madam Speaker, foreign policy is how a small nation like ours make a big life for its people. Foreign policy, foreign affairs. The ministry's diplomacy is a development instrument. It mobilizes finance and technical cooperation. It secures education and skills opportunities. It attracts technology and knowledge transfer. And it protects our citizens abroad, whether naturally born citizens or those who acquired citizenship by descent, by marriage, or by investment. All of them, none is left out. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs delivered tangible, people-centered diplomatic gains in 2025, especially in scholarships, in education, in technology transfer, and human capital. We strengthened international partnerships. We've expanded our technical cooperation and leveraged diplomacy to attract finance and capacity building, whether through bilateral or our multilateral relationships. These functions feed directly into the National Development Planning Framework, the NDPF, priorities for human capital, resilience, and economic diversification. The Sustainable Island State Agenda, CISA, pillars for resilience and sustainable resource use, and the 2030 SDG targets for education, for decent work, for health, for climate action, and for partnerships. The budget 2026, Madam Speaker, the ministry requested targeted resources to convert diplomatic commitments into concrete projects. And so we've expanded our scholarships in Cuba, in Morocco, in the Republic of China, in Tanzania. We have, of course, insisted on consular modernization and climate diplomacy. Madam Speaker, if you look at the 2025 performance highlights and development impact, we will illustrate it by the following. In multilateral leadership and agenda setting, our ambassador at the UN was appointed co-chair of a working group to revitalize the United Nations General Assembly, strengthening our own voice on reform and small state priorities, and deepening influence on multilateral processes that affect financing, peace, and development. Can you imagine how proud we felt when at the just concluded 80th session of UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, one of the co-chairs was our own permanent representative and ambassador at the UN, hailing in particular with pride from constituency number 6. Again, diplomatic engagement and market access. Appointed new missions in India and Singapore, with bilateral visits, new envoy appointments, opened trade and tourism channels that support economic diversification and decent work, directly contributing to the NDPF's economic growth and employment objectives. In the area of city diplomacy and subnational cooperation, I emphasize that formal ties with 2 major cities in Taiwan open doors for tourism flows, for cultural exchange, and municipal level cooperation in smart services, in agro-tech and education, thus complementing national bilateral agendas and CSIR's innovation focus. Again, pursued and led by another of our youthful ambassadors from constituency number 6. That is not by coincidence. It's the Lord's blessings, I'm sure. Embassy-led economic and cultural promotion as well. Our Taipei mission won recognition for promoting national festivals, music and mango, at the 2025 Taipei International Travel Fair, converting visibility into demand and networks for tourism, agro-products, and of course, creative exports. Our embassy in Washington, D.C., it facilitated a cultural group to perform for independence celebrations and continues to be one of the trusted architects strengthening our own bilateral relationship with the United States of America at a time when the USA's foreign policy is being reshaped and refocused under the present administration of President Trump. Again, ministerial leadership and policy coherence has been demonstrated. Senior ministers' 2024 achievements and strategic vision for 2025 were underscored through integrated portfolios, foreign affairs, trade, industry, investment, creating a unified external engagement strategy that translates diplomacy into development gains. What are some of the concrete 2025 results that benefited Kittitians and Nevisians? Firstly, scholarships and higher education access. St. Kitts and Nevis has long leveraged bilateral ties with Taiwan, Cuba, and Morocco, Romania, Azerbaijan, to secure scholarships in inter alia, medicine, engineering, technology. These programs continue to expand access for our youth and strengthen national human capital. This year, the scholarship intake increased from a historical maximum of 15 to 25 scholarships following direct advocacy by our ambassador and our minister during official visits to Taiwan. Technical assistance and volunteer professionals. During the minister's visit to Nigeria, that is yours truly, because we have another minister who visits occasionally, contact with Nigeria Technical Aid Corps, NTAC, secured deployment of education and medical professionals. 17 volunteers will arrive in this federation next week on Air Peace flight, flying directly from Nigeria to St. John's, Antigua, and then taking Sunrise Airways to our own Robert Llewellyn Braxton International Airport on the 21st day of December, immediately strengthening frontline services. We shall achieve even if we have to cross boundaries, even if we have to cross borders, whether they are across nations or across mountains, whether they are across continents. We shall continue to use diplomacy, our foreign affairs, support connections in order to bring benefits to our people to achieve our goals as set out in this budget for 2026. In the area of technology donations for education, again, I mentioned diplomatic channels with Azerbaijan via our own ambassador in Cuba. We've got 100 laptop computers. They have been pledged to the Ministry of Education to support the National Laptop Program and digital learning. And already the order has been placed for a brand new library for the Dr. Denzil Llewellyn Douglas Secondary School in Settlers, with e-books.
Only 6 benefiting from this program.
Not really at all. The country benefits, inclusive of Nevis. With e-books, some 235 laptop computers, one for each student in that school. We're small, but we're talented. I wish to also emphasize interns and knowledge transfer that is part of this diplomatic stride for our development. Deployment of interns from Taiwan to several ministries accelerated priority work. Within the ministry, we advanced the Multilateral Treaty Index, and we completed a protocol handbook improving institutional capacity for treaty management and diplomatic procedure. Through UNESCO and our partnerships with them, for teacher professionalization and curriculum reform, we have made contacts with UNESCO, and with the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and our ambassador to UNESCO, the Federation has secured access to undergraduate pathways for teachers via the Open University of Tanzania, supported by UNESCO, to professionalize the teaching force here in St. Kitts and Nevis. 26. Additional UNESCO assistance includes the following: strengthening the national qualifications and accreditation framework, scaling up TVET competences for TVET teachers, introducing education for sustainable development into national curriculum, developing an intangible cultural heritage national policy framework, and enhancing biodiversity credentials for the Man and the Biosphere Reserve in St. Mary's in Keon under the UNESCO Earth network, and of course, supporting the elimination of plastics and the development of national gender equality policy of our country. For 2026, what are some of the priorities and outlook? Climate resilience financing. We cannot achieve our climate resilience goals without financing. And so, we shall continue to negotiate and secure concessional resources, grants, and technical assistance, all aligned to achieve the CISA pillars, or all aligned to the CISA pillars, thus leveraging the United Nations, EOSIS, and regional mechanisms to accelerate energy transition, water security, and coastal protection, which are so critical for our own sustainability as a nation. We will also pursue bilateral cooperation in agri-tech, in health and education. We will continue our digital diplomacy for the MSMEs and branding. We shall ensure that there is diaspora engagement at all levels. We will make sure that there is multilateral leadership so that sustained roles that shape agendas at UNGA revitalization, ECOSOC membership, and SIDS coalitions to keep all of these small state needs central to our global policy of financing and implementation. What are now some of the direct contributions from the Ministry of National Development or practical impacts? Firstly, we must ensure that we emphasize the human capital uplift. I mentioned scholarships, teacher upskilling, and volunteer professionals fill all of the critical skill gaps in medicine, in engineering, in education and technology, reducing skill shortage bottlenecks that can constrain growth. In other words, if we are seeking to really position this country to the next level, if we want to really invest in progress and in our people, we have to make sure that our people access training. That is what this ministry is seeking to do, to provide the means by which our people can work, prepare themselves in order to take forward the mantle of leadership to transform and transition this country of ours. We will ensure that improved service is delivered. Short-term deployments and internships will accelerate project delivery across ministries, especially education, health, and digital transformation, thus increasing government effectiveness. There shall be digital inclusion and learning continuity to be achieved. The laptop donation and TVET scaling support, remote learning, digital literacy, and workforce readiness, all these are key to post-pandemic recovery and our NDP targets achievements. We shall ensure that one of the direct contributions of the ministry to our national development will be institutional strengthening. A multilateral treaty index and protocol handbook will improve treaty compliance, negotiation outcomes, and the ministry's ability to secure favorable technical and financial packages. Another important area of achievement will be policy coherence and international credibility. UNESCO, for example, and other multilateral partnerships that will help to align national policy in terms of qualifications, gender, cultural heritage, biodiversity with international standards, thus improving our own access to funding and technical cooperation. The idea here, Madam Speaker, is that we cannot do it alone. We do not have the financial and the human resources to do it alone. That is why we are forging partnerships with our international friends and friendly countries so that we can, in short order, within the short space and time allowed, qualify to move forward to achieve what has been outlined to be achieved in this budget for 2026. A small state's power, it lies in the position of its own partnerships. I want to repeat that. A small state's power lies in the precision of its partnerships. And so in 2025, we proved that strategic diplomacy delivers concrete gains for jobs, for skills, for culture, and resilience. Those which we would have achieved in tourism in fiscal year 2025 were not achievable without our partnerships that we would have established. In 2026, we pledge to sharpen that precision, aiming every agreement, aiming every fellowship established, aiming every mission initiative at the heart of CISA's transformation and the NDPF's vision for 2020 to 2040, so that our own global work will show up in people's everyday lives at home here in St. Kitts and also in Nevis. Madam Speaker, let me move on very quickly to international trade, industry, commerce, and consumer affairs. And let me, of course, wet the tongue and lips with some water. Convis, where are you?
Get you? The good
Waterman, the good waterman.
Good water.
And so I say, as Minister of International Trade, Industry, Commerce, and Consumer Affairs, I am most honored to present the initiatives and the accomplishments of my ministry. These initiatives are carried out against the backdrop of a difficult global economy, with larger countries frequently overlooking the needs of smaller ones, smaller and more vulnerable nations. But Madam Speaker, as the world economy grows more complex and interconnected, St. Kitts and Nevis depends on its capacity to interact purposefully with international markets for continued prosperity. Our vision of 2025, though modified to overcome these hurdles that we will face in 2026, my ministry's activities in 2026 must reflect a deliberate focus on advancing a resilient and diversified economy, and a diversified economic policy, I should say, that fundamentally alters the trajectory of our small island state. We must be on a path that echoes opportunity and sustainable growth through and for all our citizens' future. And so our vision is to expand our export markets, strengthening ties with our strategic partners in the global south, and leveraging critical agreements we as parties have signed on to. Madam Speaker, we will review the achievements of the Ministry of International Trade, Industry and Commerce, Consumer Affairs, which include the St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards. Madam Speaker, let us turn for a moment our attention firstly to the Department of International Trade. I notice Acting PS is here in-house with us. Well, actors are not forever. Madam Speaker, in today's increasingly interdependent and multifaceted global economy, the prosperity and sustainable development of our nation are fundamentally intertwined with our capacity to effectively engage and compete in international markets. Recognizing this reality, a cornerstone of our own strategic vision for 2026 is the deliberate, focused advancement and modernization of our own international trade policy framework. Madam Speaker, 2026, the Department of International Trade is committed to aggressively expanding into new export markets, focusing especially on high-value niche products that reflect our own unique competitive advantages. A key element of this strategy involves strengthening and deepening our trade relationships with strategic partners in the global south that offer vast and untapped opportunities for trade and investment. Yesterday we heard, or the day before, we heard from the Minister of Agriculture and Small Business and so forth, who has been making strides in the African continent, in Nigeria. And so in this regard, Madam Speaker, the St. Kitts and Nevis Brazil-Guyana Partial Scope Agreement, the PSA, it stands at the forefront of our international trade objectives. This accord remains a vital component of our overarching strategy, reflecting our own commitment to deepen economic ties and secure new opportunities for growth and investment. Currently, the PSA is undergoing a thorough review to ensure its provisions are in harmony with the rapidly changing global economic landscape. Madam Speaker, the Department of International Trade has proactively alerted the private sector that the PSA negotiations will be resumed in 2026. But in addition to this, Madam Speaker, the department continues to intensify collaboration with regional partners to bring the CARICOM-Colombia Trade Agreement on trade and technical cooperation into full fruition. Madam Speaker, this agreement is designed to deliver concrete improvements in market access for our own goods and services within the global south, especially targeting Colombia, while also mitigating technical restrictions that have hampered trade growth in the past. Central to these objectives, Madam Speaker, is the promotion of capacity building, harmonization of product standards, and support for suitable development practices across the entire region. Madam Speaker, the Department of International Trade achieved notable progress in 2025 through the formalization of an economic cooperation agreement with the Republic of China, Taiwan. As we look ahead to 2026, a central focus will be on actively pursuing the successful conclusion of this critical, pivotal agreement. The Department of International Trade has dedicated significant time and effort to this agreement, recognizing that the ECA is designed to serve the best interest of St. Kitts and Nevis while honoring Taiwan's own requirements in this particular economic cooperation agreement. Madam Speaker, as I reflect on my own commitment made in this very chamber back in 2024, where I assured the people of St. Kitts and Nevis of an active 2025 agenda, it is with a sense of accountability and pride that I affirm our continued efforts to fulfill that particular promise. Despite the significant geopolitical challenges which we have no direct control over, we have remained steadfast and unwavering in our own dedication to progress. Our resolve has not faltered. Instead, we have stayed the course, ensuring that our actions are aligned with the best interest of our nation and our nation's people. Madam Speaker, it is imperative that we as government continue its work on this agreement, as the heart of this agreement, Madam Speaker, emphasizes technical cooperation, capacity building initiatives, which are fundamental elements of the agreement that will empower our industries and workforce, thus enabling us to strengthen our own industrial capabilities. Madam Speaker, these are vital steps toward diversification and the creation of new jobs for our citizens. Furthermore, the agreement serves to reinforce the diplomatic relationship and deepen the economic partnership between St. Kitts and Nevis and Taiwan. For these reasons, it has been designated as a top priority within the department's 2026 work plan. This agreement stands as a cornerstone in our broader strategy to diversify our economic partnerships and to advance sustainable growth of our nation, especially in Southeast Asia. Madam Speaker, our nation's journey toward a resilient and sustainable future is inextricably linked to our active and strategic engagement within our own Caribbean community. And so to that end, a central pillar of this department's work is to empower every single citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis with the necessary tools and the confidence to fully participate in the CARICOM single market and economy. We view the CSME not merely as a policy framework, but as a dynamic and transformative arena for growth, for collaboration, and of course, for shared prosperity. For a small island state, our greatest asset has always been our people. The CSME's provisions for the free movement of skills present a profound opportunity to leverage this asset on a regional scale. This is a strategic imperative that allows us to transcend the limitations of our own domestic labor market. It is a conduit for our citizens to access expanded career opportunities abroad, which in turn alleviates local unemployment, catalyzes professional development, and fosters a valuable cycle of knowledge and expertise that can be repatriated to strengthen our own economy. Yesterday, we of course were challenged that a lot of our small businesses in this country, which operated and flourished in the past, especially on the 4th Street track. A lot of those businesses are now in the hands of so-called foreign people. That struck me in the sense that it is not a statement that must go unnoticed. But I want to emphasize that St. Kitts and Nevis has signed on to the free movement of people, especially in the Eastern Caribbean and also in the wider Caribbean community. I was further challenged in discussions this morning on this matter that maybe, although the skill certificate from CARICOM is really the tool, the instrument that determines whether one is able to establish themselves here into businesses and into jobs that are created here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The skill certificate still remains the main instrument of determination. I have been challenged that maybe some of these are fraudulent. I would not go that far. But all I ask this chamber to appreciate is that we in the ministry pledge to pay closer attention to ensure that what is being accused is not correct. In other words, it has not gone unnoticed. And if a lot of the businesses on 4th Street are now owned by so-called foreign people, I am sure that these so-called foreign people are Caribbean people and people of St. Kitts and Nevis. But it behoves us, of course, to pay close attention to this, to be more vigilant in ensuring that although we subscribe to free movement and the rights of people in the Eastern Caribbean to establish themselves here within the legal framework of the law, then, of course, we must also pay attention to underscore that legality is critical for this to be attained and achieved. We will therefore, in the coming year, focus and sharpen our own observations to achieve proactive enablement so that our own locally born people cannot be said to be excluded from the small business sector, especially established in our towns and cities. We will launch, therefore, a comprehensive suite of targeted initiatives designed to demystify the pathways to our own regional mobility. This means equipping our workers, our entrepreneurs, and our regulatory bodies with clear, practical guidance on certification, on accreditation, and compliance. Therefore, ensuring that our people can navigate the CARICOM economic space, not with trepidation, but with ambition and ease, just as those from around the region are moving into St. Kitts and Nevis without trepidation and with relatively ease, if we were to listen seriously to the member from number 5 yesterday. Crucially, Madam Speaker, we approach this not from a posture of dependency, but one of mutual benefit and strategic reciprocity. Our vision is for St. Kitts and Nevis to become a vibrant hub within the regional ecosystem. That's the point. A respected exporter of talent, yes, but also an attractive and welcoming destination for skilled professionals, service providers, and consumers from across CARICOM. I remember a few years back when we had the very difficult decision to make in closing the sugar industry and having our lands for development. And we had the opportunity, with the support of the World Bank, who sent a consultant here from Grenada, was here with us for 3 to 4 years, looking at how we can help to develop our country using human resource that was not from the scum of society in other countries. And we specifically targeted at that time people from the Eastern Caribbean, most of whom had already obtained their bachelor's degrees. They were here in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the Central Bank, and in other regional institutions. And we made it possible for them to invest in our country, build homes, generating construction activities and economic activity in general, so that within a short order, we had become one of the leading countries in the Eastern Caribbean. We want to ensure that these people from the Eastern Caribbean and other Caribbean countries are part of the human resource that we can tap into in building this country of ours, especially navigating through the turbulent times of 2026 and beyond. Madam Speaker, our vision again is for St. Kitts and Nevis to become a vibrant hub within the regional ecosystem. A very respected exporter of talent, yes, but also an attractive and welcoming destination for skilled professionals, service providers, and consumers from across the entire CARICOM landscape. By cultivating a business environment that is both regionally competitive and inviting, we position ourselves to capture the full spectrum of economic opportunities that integration offers. These concerted efforts are fundamental to our own overarching mission of building a sustainable island state. They are the practical manifestations of our own government's commitment to regional solidarity within both the OECS and CARICOM, and they are directly aligned with global aspirations for decent work, inclusive economic development and growth, and the reduction of inequalities. In a world of complex geopolitical challenges and economic headwinds, Madam Speaker, the notion of solitary success is an illusion. Our strength, our security, and our prosperity, they are all amplified through collective action. As a committed member of the OECS and CARICOM, we firmly believe that our shared future depends on this solidarity. It is through this unity of purpose that we will not only confront the challenges of today, but also seize the opportunities of tomorrow, the opportunities of leadership of the region, which we have done in the past, and which our Prime Minister will do in a matter of days when he takes over the chairmanship of CARICOM. These are not small achievements. We have to make sure that we are able to lead within the space that we have designated for ourselves in order to advance success and opportunities for our people. Madam Speaker, in an increasingly digital global economy, the efficiency of a nation's trade infrastructure is a direct determinant of its economic competitiveness. It is within this understanding that our own government is spearheading a fundamental modernization of our international trade systems, with a primary focus on transitioning to a paperless trading environment. This strategic initiative, Madam Speaker, is about more than just replacing paper with pixels. It is about building a smarter, faster, and more resilient trade ecosystem for our nation. We boast of having 98% literacy rate here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We would want to boast that every single household in this country would have had at least one university or college-trained graduate, just as we continue to advocate that in every household there should be at least one person who holds shares, holding shares for themselves and for their future. Every single household. That is our pledge. And so, Madam Speaker, we emphasize that through valued partnerships with international bodies, such as the World Bank and the Commonwealth Secretariat, and in very close collaboration with our own Digital Management Transformation Unit, we are systematically re-engineering key trade processes. This includes the digitalization of documentation, customs clearance, and regulatory approvals, moving us away from the cumbersome, time-consuming, paper-based system towards integrated, streamlined electronic platforms to be used here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam Speaker, this digital leap forward directly fulfills our own international commitments under the World Trade Organization Trade Facilitation Agreement. More importantly, it delivers on tangible benefits, it slashes bureaucratic delays, it reduces opportunities for discretion, and injects a new level of transparency and predictability into our own commercial exchanges with the world. Our commitment to this agenda was evidenced by a dedicated series of technical engagements with the World Bank Group held throughout the latter half of this year, which have been critical in charting our own implementation pathway. Additionally, Madam Speaker, we also, of course, had virtual meetings and in-country visits by the Commonwealth Secretariat to undertake the legislative gaps assessment in the first instance and to move towards a paperless transition as we move forward. Only a few weeks ago, I had the pride and privilege to participate in the opening ceremony of consultation between our business leaders and the legal advisors of the Commonwealth Secretariat. Ultimately, Madam Speaker, the work of the Department of International Trade is not an end in itself. It is a strategic engine for national prosperity. Our core mandate is to ensure that every trade agreement, every export, and every foreign investment is meticulously leveraged to generate tangible economic wealth and create meaningful opportunities for all of our citizens here in St. Kitts and in Nevis. This digital transformation is a vital investment in that mission, positioning our nation to compete and win in the 21st century marketplace. Madam Speaker, to further advance our commitment to modernizing our operations, the Ministry has initiated substantive discussions with IT experts to digitalize the entire process surrounding the CARICOM single market and economy skills certificate that I spoke to earlier. This ambitious initiative aims to streamline and expedite the certification procedure through digital platforms, enhancing accessibility, transparency I emphasize, and efficiency for all applicants. Moreover, the Ministry has begun working closely with an IT company to migrate all of its documents and records onto a secure central server. This digital transformation will not only safeguard vital data, but also enable seamless document management and retrieval, ensuring that our own administrative processes meet the highest standards of security and operational excellence. Again, I emphasize highest standards of security. Together, these measures will position St. Kitts and Nevis at the forefront of regional innovation, facilitating smoother integration into the CSME and supporting our citizens' ability to take full advantage of the free movement of skills and services across the Caribbean region. These efforts reflect the Ministry's proactive strategy in leveraging technology in order to support economic growth, regional cooperation, and the efficient delivery of services to our people and, of course, to our businesses. Permit me for a few minutes to reflect on the work of the Department of Consumer Affairs in order to lend support to achieve the goals set out for 2026 and set out to sustain this country as a small island successful state. Madam Speaker, as we navigate the path toward a truly sustainable island state, the protection and empowerment of our citizens as consumers is a non-negotiable pillar for my agenda as the minister. The choices our people make in the marketplace are a powerful catalyst for sustainable development across all sectors. It is therefore fundamental that we cultivate an environment of trust, which is the very bedrock of a vibrant and participatory economy. Madam Speaker, throughout 2025 and as we advance into 2026, the Consumer Affairs Department has maintained a vigilant view over the economic landscape. Our focus has been on the real world, the impact of critical fiscal measures, such as the increases in the minimum wage and the strategic reductions in the value-added tax, alluded to so many times during this debate so far. These policies were designed with a clear purpose to bolster the purchasing power of our people and fortify our social welfare net. And we had a clear demonstration of how our people are challenged.
Honourable Member, you're just over your 1 hour mark.
So I have another hour.
Effectively so, but you have a half an hour, but then you would have to request the additional half an hour.
Very good. I shall be within my 2 hours. And so these policies, as I said, were designed with a clear purpose to bolster the purchasing power of our people and fortify our social welfare net. I make reference to number 5 and what I'm sure was a kind-hearted gesture to assist the family that demonstrated need. I support the comments that were made by our Prime Minister at intervention, that a number of things have been done by this government to ease that burden. I'm sure the move of the bill will revert to those discussions from yesterday and show how the administration has moved to soften the impact of these challenges. Our ongoing oversight, I must say, Madam Speaker, is a crucial safeguard ensuring that the gains of our citizens are not eroded by unjust price gouging or predatory market behavior. Madam Speaker, in our pursuit of evidence-based governance, the department under my watch has embarked on a significant technological partnership with the Digital Management Transformation Unit, the DMTU, and the IT department. We have contracted Misha Infotech Limited to deliver a suite of innovative digital tools. This includes a real-time price monitoring mechanism, a dedicated mobile application for tracking our essential food basket, and a streamlined web-based portal for consumer complaints. We are a highly educated people. We are making available to you the digital technology that is available. We are asking you, before you go out, have your smartphone, look at the app, who has the goods that you're looking and for what price. That's how we have to do it. The days of having a factory full of flour and sugar and rice and we sell it at a particular, those days are gone. That's not the world of today. But what is available to us are tools that we must use to track the prices of goods in our various supermarkets and go to those supermarkets with the prices that are affordable so that you can get the best bang for your money when you're shopping. This digital leap is now in its final stages, as I said. Revolutionizing our data collection by replacing antiquated paper-based methods with agile, tablet-enabled field operations. Our people will go out and check the prices. You have a particular price. Show me your records for importation. What's your markup, etc. This is what has to be done in order to protect our consumers and to ensure that there is fairness in what is being collected by the providers of goods and services. The result will be a new era of rapid, precise market intelligence, empowering our policy decisions with concrete data, moving us decisively beyond conjecture. Madam Speaker, as the Minister responsible for consumer rights and responsibilities, I am deeply committed to protecting the interest of all consumers in our Federation. In a world where unexpected global shocks can sharply affect the cost of living, it is my duty to ensure that our citizens, they are well equipped. Well equipped, Madam Speaker, to ensure that they can make informed and wise spending decisions. I take a personal interest in empowering every household to get the best value for each hard-earned dollar safeguarding the economic well-being in these challenging times. This commitment reflects our determination to build a resilient society that can withstand and adapt to external economic pressures. Therefore, Madam Speaker, as a small open economy, we are not insulated from the inflationary tides of global market. And so to arm our consumers with knowledge, we in the department, in concert with the Cost of Living Task Force, launched a public education campaign in 2025. We will work closely with the Ministry of Labor on these things. This initiative produced accessible infographics, I should say, and videos that highlight healthier, more affordable alternative brands to our people. Building on this success, we will launch the groundbreaking SKN Smart Shopper app in 2026, providing our citizens with live, at-a-glance price comparisons across retail outlets. This is a country that we have been told several years ago, 10 years ago, that we have the highest average of cell phones per person here in St. Kitts, highest in the whole Eastern Caribbean. Use your cell phone, my people. Get the information. Which business place is selling what you need and for what price? We shall give you one.
Oh. And remember, you've been doing it since BlackBerry, eh?
Because, Madam Speaker, this is a tool. This is part of protecting yourself. Don't shop where you know the price is competitively much higher than what you are able to afford. Find it. This instrument with the appropriate app is what you need. Up to the time. So, Madam Speaker, this shopper app, launched in 2026, will provide our citizens with live, at-a-glance price comparisons across retail outlets, enabling them to stretch their household budgets to the maximum. And so, Madam Speaker, I am proud to inform the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that this is a new and critical frontier for us in 2026. The department moving to reinforce its own stance against anti-competitive practices through deepened collaboration with the CARICOM Competition Commission and our own OECS partners. We have established a dedicated competition desk and are fortifying our policy frameworks in this particular regard. And so, Madam Speaker, this proactive stance, it is designed to ensure a level playing field, protecting consumers and ethical businesses alike, and guaranteeing that economic participation in St. Kitts and Nevis is equitable for all of our consumers. Madam Speaker, let me turn quickly our attention to the engines of production, the Department of Industry and Commerce. I recognize, Madam Speaker, that while the manufacturing sector currently constitutes a modest segment of our GDP, modest, its potential for growth, job creation, and economic diversification is immense and vast. Our national manufacturing strategy is a proactive blueprint to unlock this potential, with a sharp focus on attracting investment and generating high-quality employment. Madam Speaker, a cornerstone of this strategy is our commitment to leveraging advancements in renewable energy. Madam Speaker, this government is advancing ambitiously towards a renewable energy future that significantly lowers energy cost, which remains one of the largest inputs for our manufacturers. Energy cost, prohibitive, stifling. No manufacturer wants to come here and seriously do anything when the cost of electricity wipes out the anticipated profits. Nobody gonna come.
And that is why we invest in energy.
And that is why the mandate given by this administration to the young engineer from number 3, provide energy. Get on with it, my brother, we said to him every day in cabinet.
New generators.
He brought in the new generators while he worked on what was on the ground.
Solar plants.
Oh my God, solar plant. Just listen to what he's saying there. Not me anymore, listen to him, number 4. He's into it. Madam Speaker, this is where we are. The member for number 5 and number 7 spoke. Maybe from their hearts, we don't know. But we don't take these criticisms lightly. They criticize, we work. That's what we are here for. And so, energy, the problems of energy must be resolved. And you can bet your life that Douglas will make contact with every single entity, foreign, Saudi Arabia, UAE, I don't care where the hell they are, we'll find them. We have an energy problem in St. Kitts. We need it resolved. Madam Speaker, industry and commerce ain't going to get anywhere without energy. Cheaper, reliable, abundant energy. And so, the government is advancing ambitiously towards a renewable energy future that significantly lowers energy cost, which remains one of the largest inputs for manufacturers. When I listen to some of the past challenges that we faced, St. Kitts and Nevis, and we know that the energy solution lies equally in Nevis as in St. Kitts. We are prepared to recognize the need for investment collectively to achieve this energy solution goal. Madam Speaker, the government has secured key investments and partnerships to develop large-scale renewable projects, including solar farms and contributing significantly to the geothermal plant. These projects are not only set to reduce electricity prices dramatically, but also ensure reliable and sustainable power supply, positioning our manufacturers among the most cost-competitive players in the entire CARICOM region. In fact, Madam Speaker, this is one of the outcomes from the Trade and Investment Mission to Taiwan earlier this year. We started discussions with them about semiconductors 2 years ago. Douglas, this is not easy to achieve. But we can assist in another form. Solar panels, maybe. Solar energy. And so we are a government that is looking at all forms of renewable energy. Madam Speaker, this government does not go on trips. We go on strategic missions, fulfilling the promises we made to the people of this country. Under the banner of our Sustainable Island State Agenda, CISA, in 2026, it is my mission to usher in a transformative era for manufacturing, an era that aligns economic growth with environmental stewardship and social well-being. Madam Speaker, this paradigm shift focuses on promoting resource efficiency by encouraging manufacturers to optimize the use of raw materials, energy, and water, thereby reducing waste and operational cost. And so in a similar vein, Madam Speaker, it is the commitment to the welfare of our workforce. We are advancing policies that promote safe, healthy, and supportive work environments, recognizing that a motivated and skilled workforce is the backbone of a competitive manufacturing sector. Complementing this is our own emphasis on environmentally sound manufacturing operations, which incorporate clean technologies, pollution controls, and waste management systems designed to meet international green standards. Madam Speaker, overcoming the challenges inherent in shifting toward a green economy also requires nurturing sustainable agribusinesses. Madam Speaker, we are supporting farmers and food processors through training, infrastructure investments, and market access initiatives that foster sustainable agricultural practices, reduce import dependence, and enhance our own food security here in St. Kitts and Nevis. These efforts, Madam Speaker, contribute directly to the achievement of multiple sustainable development goals, including responsible consumption and production, SDG 12, decent work and economic growth, SDG 8, and climate action, SDG 13. Madam Speaker, my vision for St. Kitts and Nevis' industrial commercial sectors firmly anchors sustainability as a catalyst for progress. Through this lens, Madam Speaker, my aim is to ignite innovation, broaden trade horizons, generate employment, and fortify our own national infrastructure. Madam Speaker, a key element of this vision is advancing quality education under SDG 4 by improving access to lifelong learning and skills development initiatives that are essential for thriving modern economy. Additionally, Madam Speaker, I am committed to advancing and fostering a vibrant export sector, nurturing an entrepreneurial spirit, and supporting the formal growth of micro and small enterprises, thereby enhancing productivity and inclusiveness across the sector. SDG target 8.3 is on board. Madam Speaker, this robust strategy ensures that industry and commerce not only contribute to economic growth, but do so in a way that uplifts communities and builds a resilient foundation for future generations. The cultivation of born global enterprises and dynamic startups is vital. These initiatives are the new engines of innovation, employment, and economic dynamism. They enhance resource efficiency. They diversify consumer choice. They attract crucial investment and talent, and more deeply integrate our federation into the global economic mainstream. And so, Madam Speaker, my government is committed to fostering that enabling environment. This drive for sustainable industrial growth is built on resilient infrastructure, inclusive industrialization, and responsible consumption and production, thereby laying a solid foundation for success for our own people. Finally, Madam Speaker, I must underscore that partnership is the key to our success. And so through close collaboration with our own manufacturers and our international allies, we can fully leverage trade agreements and capacity building initiatives. Our work program, Madam Speaker, is supported by robust monitoring frameworks and data-driven analysis aligned with our SDG indicators accordingly. Our recent partnership with Curacao stands as a prime example of this vision in action, opening new markets, facilitating knowledge exchange, and enhancing our collective competitiveness to secure lasting prosperity for our nation. Just a few weeks ago, the Department of Industry and Commerce undertook a very successful initiative, doing business in St. Kitts and Nevis. It was labeled, which realized stakeholders' participation from our private and public sectors in every sector you can think about in St. Kitts and Nevis. This initiative provided a platform for local businesses to showcase themselves to potential investors from Curacao. And so, Madam Speaker, it does not end there, or it did not end there. We are preparing for the Curacao Business Crude Trade Mission in 2026. Under this undertaking, a cruise ship in Curacao will be used as a floating conference space, connecting local entrepreneurs with Caribbean regional markets. Small business, please be ready for this initiative. The companies will visit 8 destinations, which include in St. Kitts and Nevis. The event includes daily onboard activities, targeted workshops by industry sectors, doing business-to-business matchmaking at every port, and ongoing networking, ensuring comprehensive growth experience for our entrepreneurs. Madam Speaker, the impact and the benefit for our local businesses cannot be overstated. In addition to this, Madam Speaker, we just a few hours ago launched another major event, Manufacturers Inspiration Fair, it is called, under the theme, Empowering Manufacturers, Inspiring Entrepreneurs, and Engaging Communities. Madam Speaker, this event is taking place as I am presenting this to you today. It is a promotional exercise for local industries, from the largest to the smallest, all in one space. That space being our own historic Independence Square in Bastia. And so I ask this body today, look how far they have come. From the descendants of Africans captured, mostly in West Africa, forced across the Atlantic, landing here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the mother colony of the West Indies, they called us. Paraded, Madam Speaker, paraded in their nakedness, except the private parts being covered, in our market square. Now today, they are in that same spot as we speak, as captains of industry and commerce.
Honourable Member, you have exceeded your allotted time.
May I, of course, ask graciously for additional 30 minutes.
How long you in Parliament? 36 years. It should be automatic.
Well, but protocol is protocol.
Very well, that is true.
And highest regard for the Speaker.
And I am grateful. The question is that the Honourable Member be permitted to speak for a further period not exceeding 30 minutes. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? Honourable Member, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And so I make mention of what is taking place at this moment, sorry, in our own Independence Square here in Bastille. It is aimed to showcase the creativity, the innovation, and the craftsmanship of local manufacturers, while promoting collaboration and visibility within the business community. In essence, Madam Speaker, this event is proudly showcasing the quality goods and services produced by our own local people. In 2026, one can expect to see more events such as this taking place. I must make it very clear that these events are very strategic in nature. They are designated to create a culture of manufacturing and innovation in St. Kitts and Nevis, and to a larger extent, create a culture of supporting local industries as well. So, Madam Speaker, we cannot delay pursuing these initiatives. We must act now. The comprehensive efforts I have outlined today, spanning from vigilant consumer protection to strategic industrial development, are the very tangible expressions of our own unwavering commitment. They are the building blocks of the future that we are forging together, a sustainable, inclusive, and profoundly prosperous future for all of our citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. But, Madam Speaker, it does not stop here. Let us look very quickly at the work that we are doing through the Bureau of Standards. I'm running out of time. I must now hustle fast. Madam Speaker, I want to underscore the paramount importance of the St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards, the SKNBS, and its pivotal role in fortifying our nation's economic resilience and securing the well-being of every single citizen of this country. The Bureau is not merely a regulatory body. It is a cornerstone of our national quality infrastructure, the NQI, a silent guardian committed to safeguarding public health, preserving our environment, and championing consumer rights through rigorous internationally recognized testing and metrology services. The Bureau of Standards, Madam Speaker, it operates highly sophisticated laboratories, which are a source of national pride. These facilities are equipped to serve every facet of our society, the public, the private sector, with analyses that span critical areas such as soil composition, ambient air quality, microbiological contamination, and even water chemistry, Madam Speaker. The reliability of their data is the foundation on which sound policy decisions are made, and their continuous operation is ever more vital to the integrity of our economy and our trade relationships, Madam Speaker. I am especially proud to announce the significant achievement of the Bureau of Standards in attaining the ISO/IEC 17025 international accreditation in both chemistry and microbiology earlier this year, 2025. This means that the Bureau of Standards operates the only internationally accredited laboratories in our entire federation. And let me emphasize, this accreditation is not just a certificate, you know. It is a globally recognized stamp of competence, ensuring that the results from our labs are accepted and trusted across international borders. That is why we have confidence that our goods and our services, our goods in particular, when they leave our shores, they are acceptable globally, approved by our standards, Bureau of Standards. That is what is so important about it. Before I go further, I must make clear that standards are the universal language of quality globally. They form the bedrock of our national quality infrastructure. They cultivate an environment of trust and reliability that are essential, quite essential, Madam Speaker, for domestic commerce and critical for success in the global marketplace, which is where we intend to be moving 2026 and beyond. Madam Speaker, these standards, they encompass a comprehensive framework of international agreement, established codes of practice, technical regulations, and stringent criteria that set non-negotiable benchmarks for production and service delivery. They are a win-win mechanism. They provide manufacturers with clear pathways to excellence and other consumers' confidence and assurance that the products that they purchase, they are safe, they are reliable, Madam Speaker, and they are fit for purpose. Don't play with us. Madam Speaker, within the national quality infrastructure, this system supports our entire ecosystem of testing, accurate measurement, metrology, certification, and accreditation. This ensures that our purchases have the required standards applied and that they meet strict criteria for sterility and freedom from contaminants. Our water that has been desalinated, although it's good to hear what WHO, health, and people say, our own lab say, safe to drink. Drink. This process, it directly translates into heightened consumer confidence and public safety. Our national mission, therefore, Madam Speaker, is to accelerate the adoption of standards across all sectors to systematically promote quality, enhance safety, and cement trust in our goods and services. Madam Speaker, I will make this available to the world by way of the media. There are other parts I want to mention, but I must go on very quickly, Madam Speaker, to the other parts of the ministry, quickly. But I must say that the comprehensive initiatives outlined today, from vigilant consumer protection to strategic industrial advancement, reflect our own steadfast commitment to building a sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous future for every citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. Through diversifying our trade relationships, embracing digital innovation, strengthening regional integration, championing renewable energy, and fostering a culture of quality and innovation, we are working diligently to position our nation on a trajectory towards economic resilience and wealth creation for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. As Minister, I must emphasize for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that these efforts are not merely policy ambition. They are concrete actions, driving transformation across sectors, empowering businesses and consumers alike, and ensuring that this government, meet the aspirations of current and future generations. Indeed, by working collaboratively with regional partners, international allies, and our local communities, this government bent on unlocking new opportunities and securing our place in a competitive global economy. I so move, Madam Speaker. I respectfully urge this Honourable House to continue to support these very vital programs that advance the prosperity and well-being for our Federation. Together, let us continue to build a resilient St. Kitts and Nevis that drives sustainably, innovates boldly, and embraces the promise of inclusive growth for all. Turning very quickly to the portfolio of economic development and investment. Economic development, Madam Speaker, it's about jobs. Jobs created, businesses expanded, communities strengthened, and opportunity delivered for our people. This is not abstract at all. When we partner with tourism to bring airlift, more people, when we partner with my own colleagues and advocate and work towards a new hotel, when we develop the partnerships with other ministries, it is to ensure that the economic development and the investments which we bring as a department will generate what we say must be achieved in 2026. Economic development, this is about jobs. It's about opportunities being delivered to our people. It is not abstract at all. It must be felt in households. It must be felt with regard to employment. And it must build the national confidence of our people. No one ministry can achieve this. It's a collective. This ministry exists to ensure that development is planned, is coordinated, it is resilient, and it is sustainable. Guided by the National Development Planning Framework of 2023 to 2037 and our own Sustainable Island State Agenda. We are now in the 4th year of this government's mandate. And this budget reflects a mature phase of governance, one that is focused on delivery, accountability, and long-term impact. In 2025, Madam Speaker, the Ministry advanced the operationalization of the National Development Planning Framework by strengthening the interministerial coordination, building capacity across the public service, and advocating and advancing the medium-term strategy and investment plan. We secured critical international support, including some 500,000 US from the government of India for the disaster-resilient utility infrastructure project, strengthening water, strengthening energy and telecommunications resilience, and technical assistance from the United Nations UNECLAC, under the DA16 project, to improve project planning, strategic management, and implementation across the entire government. And this is how small states succeed, Madam Speaker. By building systems, not improvising, building systems. A central pillar of our work is investment, promotion, and facilitation through the St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agency, SKIPPR. And so in 2025, SKIPPR sharpened its focus on bankable, sustainable, and job-creating projects aligned with our national priorities. SKIPPR approved a pipeline of projects across renewable energy, agri-processing, housing, sustainable tourism, light manufacturing, and climate-resilient infrastructure. These projects all are structured to create employment, support local suppliers, transfer skills, and comply with our own national, international, and national obligations. That's what we do. In 2026, this government will finalize the medium-term strategy and investment plan. It will launch a digital NDPF scorecard, strengthen economic monitoring, and expand Skipper's export promotion role. Madam Speaker, the work of this ministry is about building a resilient, competitive, inclusive economy that works for every citizen and division. World Trade Expos for Serbia in 2027 and Saudi Arabia in 2030, we shall be there. Let it be known, we shall be there. I was shocked a few weeks ago in Japan. Our cultural artists were there on saying it's National Day. My God, turned the entire place upside down.
Our culture has gone worldwide.
You need to know what's going on, Madam Speaker. The work of this ministry is about building resilient, competitive, inclusive economy that works for every citizen and division. There was a lady from Neves, my God, with the mic. I don't know if she's a Calypso star or what. Can't believe it, man. And so, CBI restructuring on the road of Skipper, working in collaboration with the new CIU, is a statutory entity. Under this new legislative regulatory guidelines, etc., Skipper continues to perform its role. We will be part of world trade in Saudi Arabia and Serbia soon to come. Madam Speaker, let me close by speaking on St. Christopher number 6. The best part of the country, of course. It's very, very sad. No, equal to Nevis. As I speak here today, the people in that area are very sad, especially in St. Paul's. We've had 4 deaths in this week alone. Are our people giving up? I hope not. 4 deaths. Young, not so young, elderly. For different reasons. But we will continue to strive. I want to use this opportunity to invite the children of our parents to come to our children's party. Saturday, tomorrow. We have tried to bring some hope and some light to the lives of the people through our Christmas lighting ceremonies. Deer Bay and Sadler's continue to be outstanding, and at the Bratcher Park in St. Paul's. I want to thank member for number 3, and of course Prime Minister, for delivering on the roads that we were promised in 2025. Roads in St. Paul's and in Newton Girl. Projects built before 2015. Roads were never paved, but they have now been paved, some of them. And more, of course, are promised for 2026. The start of some 10 NHC homes in Newton Ground, most welcoming as well to the people there. We've always been part of the national thrust, never selfish. So we thank for these 10 homes, starting in Newton Ground, hoping to spread to other parts of the constituency. But to lift your spirit, Madam Speaker, we are champions, of course. Always champions. The back-to-back primary school football champions, they're from St. Paul's constituency, number 6. In a spirited match, primary school level, 2 weeks ago, St. Paul's Saddlers. Saddlers, it's okay. We understand. But St. Paul's emerged. Saddlers, second. You're not easy. We had 2 contestants, just on Saturday it was, in the talented teen. The representative of the Charles E. Mills was from St. Paul's, number 6. And also from the DLD SS, Saddlers, also from Saddlers, number 6. We are tough, small but tallow is what they say about us. We need to find investors for Kitishan Hill. The Kitishan Hill project was not designed in a vacuum. It was designed to ensure that the people of that part of the country would be able to attract investment, commerce, improve livelihoods for not only people of that area, but from the whole country. And so, with limited time, I say quickly that I urge my colleagues to find solutions, not only to the Kitishan Hill situation, but also to the Ramada Hotel situation there. Ramada Hotel is built as it is now, close to 300 rooms. Phase 2, which is under construction, will give you another 200 rooms, 500 rooms. At the moment, it's closed. 1,200 jobs have gone awry. That has to change. I give the people in this parliament that commitment that we shall improve that situation. And so, even if it means working directly with the Minister of Tourism for an all-inclusive or something has to be done to change the situation there. I urge, finally, Madam Speaker, the Minister of Public Utilities to bring water solutions to our area very quickly, now that the desalination project is on its way and our water, remember, we are from that part of the country that has the most water. But water is being shared to other communities. So I'm now hoping that the well drilling in Saddlers will start, because we've discovered possibilities from the drone, Saddlers, and then we can return to a constituency of a whole lot of water. May it please you, Madam Speaker.